Hi everyone, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Aileen and here we like to talk about all things makeup, mostly luxury makeup, skincare, and fashion. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I hope you consider subscribing and joining the family. So today, we're going to talk about the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder for face and eyes. I did pick up 3 shades, the Universal to use as a primer, shade 4, hopefully that's a good match, and shade 7 for bronzing. I think these might be good shades, but we'll see. So if you're interested in seeing the application, my thoughts, and first impressions, then keep on watching. But don't forget to subscribe. Let's get to it. So let's start with shade 4. I feel like I really want to see the shades so I can use the Universal shade as a primer in another video, or maybe just in a different area, maybe the forehead, just to see if it really does live up to its claims. So here is the packaging. It does come with a little spoon that just clips into place. I do love the bronze packaging. But if you're not new here, my name is Aileen. I'm 38 years old and I have an obsession with bronzers. So here is shade 4. It does look very neutral. It does have a balm feel. And here is shade 4. That looks like a really good match. And in comparison, I want to swatch it with next to the Wayne Goss. So the Wayne Goss is a little lighter and the shade 4 is a little darker. Although it did have more of an emollient feel, it does not on the hand. And you can probably see there how you can see some emollient and some shine here, and it's already starting to mattify here. So we'll see. As far as what's on my face, it's just skincare, a lot of moisture, a lot of hydration, and my eyebrows are done. That is it. Let me swatch shade 7. I don't know. Yeah, that's nice as a bronzer. I think that'll work. It depends how much it shears out. In regards to the product, it does have the net weight of 18 grams. It doesn't have the shelf life back here, but it does have a 12-month shelf life. Now let's read up on the claims before we apply and start saying things and that's what it claimed to do. It is a texture reducing, coverage boosting, blurring balm that balances oils throughout the day while maintaining hydration. This groundbreaking balm 2 powder formula is powered by Swedish super ingredient Upsolite. Its cutting-edge technology balances sebum and reduces oil throughout the day for a natural, clean glow. This petal-like texture feels like a balm but sets like a powder for a long-lasting, shine-free look. So by the sounds of it, it sounds like it should work really well for oily skin. So again, we'll apply this shade here all over the face, this shade for bronzing. This is shade 4 and this is shade 7. If you're interested in seeing shade 3 or shade 6, I'll have Kelly Rettenberger's video linked down below. She's just like 1 shade lighter than me right now. So I think that'll be good if you're lighter than me and you want to see if 6 will work as a bronzer for you, or if 3 would be a good match, then you can definitely check that out. So let's move on to application. Let's see what it says about how to apply. To prime using the Universal shade or a tinted shade, tap and blend with fingers to prime eyelids or complexion. Use to highlight or contour, use at least 2 shades lighter or deeper than your skin tone. Apply with fingers or a brush to brighten and sculpt. To set the foundation using Universal or tinted shade, tap with fingers or a dense brush to set it. I'm guessing the warmth of the fingers will help with the spreading and the brush will really help set it. That's what I'm getting. To add sheer coverage, using a tinted shade, press and roll in an even layer into the texture or oily areas. To set and add coverage, using a tinted shade, press and roll through the T-zone and tap to build additional coverage where needed. Okay, let's give it a try then. And here is the universal shade. I will swatch that to see if it goes on sheer, and it does. It's just clear. So I'm trying to see where's the most texture in my face. I would say right here. So since it claims to have a blur and texture removing property to it, I'm gonna apply first with my finger on these highly textured areas. It does feel balmy when you swatch it. It does feel, when I rub it in the skin, it feels like maybe a primer that has a little bit of silicone in it, or like a wax. So you can see this is my skincare. You can still see my oils. And right here, it did give a light mattifying effect. So I would have to try this universal shade as a primer with other products just to see how it looks. But I'm going to apply it on this cheek area so that we can see how shade 4 applies on the skin over this. I want to try to apply it with a brush, and I'm going to use my BK Beauty 101. It is angled, it is dense. I love this brush. So I'm just going to dip in there 2 times. Okay. I do think that's a good shade match. I thought it might be a little dark because my hands tend to be a little darker than my face, but that's going on nice. It is providing light coverage. I can definitely try how it said online to press and roll with a finger for additional coverage. So we'll see. Let's try that. With my finger, I'm going to try to cover this hyperpigmentation here and see how that works. And then apply it over the primer. I do wish it was a compact and you could have a mirror. This doesn't have claims to be a cream foundation, but I absolutely love the Wayne Goss puffs, and I'm wondering how this would apply with that. I feel like they would go really well together. So there is shade 4. I don't feel it really intensified the coverage on this hyperpigmentation. Like, this is one I feel like I would still have to spot conceal prior to application. I feel it's buildable up to like a medium, not a medium leaning full. I'm gonna try the Wayne Goss puff. So this is the dirty side. So I'm gonna use this part up here. I do have it on my vanity to wash. It is more emollient, I feel, than the Wayne Goss. But I've never tried a Danessa Myricks complexion product. So I really can't compare it to the new one that was released prior to this, that Yummy Glow one. I can't compare it to the one previous to that was already existing. I've tried her bronzer, and I think that's pretty much it. That cream bronzer is so good. I think you can definitely see how it mattifies. And I feel I did get more coverage with this puff than with the brush or my fingers. So right here, I'm gonna try, to build it up with the puff and see. That definitely provided more coverage. But it doesn't look cakey. I do have a mirror down here. And since I really like the Wayne Goss, bringing it up to the under eye, I'm going to try this one. When you're applying your foundation, you definitely want to go in downward motions just because of the peach fuzz. If you go up, then you're going against the hair and it just starts causing other issues that could make it cake up. So since it said we could use this as eye primer, I am going to apply this to the lids and we will see if it creases with a line. Okay, so I have purposely not done my forehead so that you can see the shine compared to shade 4 applied with the puff. And on this side, I did apply with the brush, but I did do the under eye, the lid, and this little hyperpigmentation with the puff. I feel I got more coverage with the puff than the brush or even my fingers. So I'm going to apply some on the forehead. Yep, that's a good shade. Applying most of it down here because I do want to go with the bronzing shade, but I don't want to pile, I don't want to pile it on top of the light shade and lighten the bronzing shade. I can on half of my forehead just to see if it makes a difference in the shade. And then right here, I'll stop it there and then just blend that line and we'll apply the bronzing shade on the skin versus on top of this lighter shade. And we will see if this lighter shade is going to change the shade of shade 7 because I'm placing shade 7 over shade 4. So I want to see if that will lighten the shade or if it'll stay true to color. So here it is. I will say it's not emphasizing texture right away. I don't think it's reducing the appearance of texture, but I don't think it's emphasizing it. I don't think it's emphasizing pores. It does make them look smaller and it definitely reduced the shine, but it didn't give a flat matte. I feel it's very it's like a velvety feel and look to the skin. It's nice. And I haven't set this. We're going to go to shade 7 and see what we think. But I'm kind of confused why the spoon is in there. I'm kind of confused if I was able to do this, accomplish this with such little products, why we would need the spoon. Maybe to scoop it out, put it in a smaller travel friendly container. I'm not sure, but it's cute. For bronzer, I'm going to use my Unit 303, and this is shade 7. It did pick up a good amount of product. I feel that's too olive-y. Let me put it on this side where I don't have that shade 4. I don't like that shade. I'm gonna shear it out with my finger. I feel like it looks okay on camera, but it looks really olive on my forehead. I'm not sure if the camera is picking that up. Yeah, I am not a fan of shade 7 as a bronzing shade, but let's proceed. I like really warm shades for bronzing. Yes, this is warm, but I don't like a hot olive hue, and I feel this does have like an olive hue to it. I'm not a fan of shade 7. If this is your skin tone shade, it'd be perfect, but I don't like it as a bronzing shade for my preference. But we're gonna trust the process and see what happens. I feel like I just want to dab some of shade 4 around that just to kind of neutralize. Since shade 4 is more of a neutral shade, I really want to neutralize that a little bit. I feel like that looks better. So tapping the shade 4 over the shade 7, toned down the olive look, neutralized it a bit. I feel like right here along the edges, it was just looking really olive. Look at all those God-given highlights. Where are we going? But on its own, I am not a fan of this shade. But let me stop, because we're not here to discuss bronzing. Maybe it'll all tie together. Okay, so what do you think? I don't feel that emollient feel from when I first applied it. I don't feel like it dries down to a powder right away, but it's only been 4 minutes. So we will definitely have to wait and see. I do want to see if I can build up the coverage underneath the eye. And then maybe just, instead of using concealer, maybe use like the Chantecaille Camouflage Stilo, like a highlighter pen versus an actual concealer, just for brightening. I think that gave good coverage under the eye. So I added additional coverage here and not here. I feel like you can tell. So let me do the same over here. Okay, I like that. And if you are new here, I am 38 years old. I live in a very humid climate in Florida. Today was 100 degrees, y'all. I thought I was gonna pass out. It was hot. It was hot. I will say, look at this. It does not serve the purpose of a night primer for oily lids. That creased incredibly quickly, and I didn't even do the lids until I had little product left. I still don't feel like that powdery feel. Like I feel like I want to keep my face like this until I set the lids. So let me set the lids with some Charlotte Tilbury powder and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have set that immediately. After I set that, I said, as I was setting it, I put that in my under eye. If it creased on my lids, it's going to crease on my under eye. And sure enough, you can see the lines where it settled into the lines. So I would definitely blend that out, and set it right away. And I am using my Charlotte Tilbury setting powder. And then hopefully that prevents it from creasing. In just a minute, if the powder prevents it from creasing. But on its own, absolutely not. The Wayne Goss, I did not have a problem with it on the under eye. I didn't feel I had to set it. But this, okay. And although it looks velvety and it looks like it's controlling the oils, just seeing what happened on the under eye and the lid, I'm not confident. I feel like I had high expectations going into this and I'm not quite there yet. But we'll have to wear it and see. As far as the bronzer, this is definitely not a shade that would work for me. I had to tone it down to get it to work. And we all know Aileen's not about a toned down bronzer. I'm just saying. So, yeah, that's a problem. I'm not going to powder this. I am going to do my makeup as far as maybe add some blush, just see how everything plays with powder products. And I'll come check in a few hours. And I will try to check in again later. If I can't check in twice, I will definitely check in right before I go to bed, just to have it on as long as possible. But as of right now, I'm not 100% convinced, mostly because of the creasing in the under eye and the lids. But if this can control the oils everywhere else as it's claiming to do, I'm okay not putting this towards the under eye or over the lids as an eye primer. I would be okay with that. When you have oily skin, you just really want something that can control your oils, that's going to stay in place, that you're going to feel confident that you don't have to check your makeup over and over and over again all day. So that's really what I'm going to go for. And I'm going to keep an open mind until we do a wear test. So I will see you in a second for you and hours for me. Okay, I'm back. Work and life got crazy, so I never got to put on a full face. I was able to put on some blush, some mascara, and a lip that wore off, and I just touched it up before coming back on camera. So, I've got a few things to say. So, let me bring the mirror a little closer. I will say, right here, where I have enlarged pores in here, it did minimize. I mean, they're not going to go away completely. But right here, where I don't feel I have emphasized pores, it was about the 1 hour mark. I've now had this on for 5 hours. So the 1 hour mark, I saw so many little fine lines and large pores emphasized in this area that I've never had an issue with or a complex over. And I was like, oh, where'd all that come from? But I'm not liking it on the lines. It kind of faded off on my nose. It faded off on my chin area. I'm not sure if, and I'll try to zoom this in right here. You can see it's like cakey and separating around the pores. And I'm not sure why. I never have an issue in that area. The under eye, even though I set it, I'm not sure if you can see that, it's still settled into the fine lines on both eyes. The forehead, I feel I went very sheer and it looks good. This looks good. I'm thinking that what doesn't look good are the areas that I tried to put additional coverage because I wanted to cover that hyperpigmentation. But I feel like my smile lines are more emphasized and I look older in this area. I don't like that at all. See, if you can see it, it's here and here. And this was the side that I applied with a brush and then dabbed with my finger. And I did do the puff under the eye and then set it. But I'm not the biggest fan. From here on up, I feel it looks good. Down here, I'm not loving it. But then I think to myself, that's the part of my face that moves the most because I'm laughing, because I'm talking, I'm on the phone, I'm in meetings. I need it to look good here. But I will say at the 1 hour mark, I was ready to take this off. It did settle on the sides of my nose. If you can see that there. This side's not so bad, but I feel that it's worn off. For me, it's this area that I'm just really not loving. I do feel though that this area where I applied the universal shade as a primer prior to adding on shade 4, it does look like the pores are more minimized than this side. But unfortunately, I'm really not loving this. And I'll come closer. I really do feel like it is. I don't like this. I don't like this here. I don't think the camera will pick it up, but I feel like it's settling here in little tiny fine lines I didn't even know I had. The chin wore off, and I did not powder this to set it. I'll definitely try that tomorrow, and by the time I edit the video, I will be able to leave a pinned comment. But as of right now, I don't want to have to work this hard to make it work. Especially after trying the Wayne Goss, the One Size BBB cream, products that I'm really liking, I'm leaving on my vanity and reaching for all the time. So right here where I have a blemish that is healing, when I do my skincare and everything, I don't see, or even when I rub on it, I don't see any dry skin, but it is a healing blemish, so I'm sure it's there. But this really like emphasizes it. Yeah, I just don't like this right here. So as of right now, it is a no for me, unfortunately. I will continue to give it a try. And like I said, leave a pinned comment with an update. The bronzer shade, no. If you've been looking at shade 7 and considering this as a bronzer or as your shade, it does have a olive undertone to it. So it looks warm, I feel, online, but it's not. It's definitely not. It has an olive hue to it, and you can see that there. It's not neutral, it's not warm or golden undertones, it's olive. And I am not a fan of olive. Shade 4, I feel like if you're dry, you may like this. I feel if you're normal to dry, you may like this. Shade 4 is very neutral. That blended right into my hand. If you have fine lines, I feel you won't. That's just my personal opinion. Again, I'll try it again tomorrow. And by the time I edit, I'll have a pinned comment. But right now, like, there's just too many great products out there for me to feel like I have to work this hard to make a product work. But because it can be me and I may possibly be applying wrong, or maybe I should have used the universal shade underneath all over the face prior to applying it. But at the same time, if you have to apply this universal shade and then another shade on top, then you're really paying for 2 products to get the look when you probably already have primers in your drawer. But I'm really not liking the under eye either. And again, I'll try to zoom that in. It is caking and settling, and it looks dry. It's unfortunate because this is the first Danessa Myricks complexion product that I've tried, and I'm definitely not a fan right now. I personally don't like how I wasn't able to cover the hyperpigmentation and still look good. And I'm more of an 8 to 12 hour person. I have long days. I'm up at 6. I go to bed at 2 in the morning and I'm up at 6. Like, I don't have my makeup on all that time, but I don't want to have to worry about the time that I do have my makeup on, especially when I have so many great products. Unfortunately for me, as of right now, this is a fail, but I will keep you updated. Thank you all so much for coming, and until next time, don't forget, we're all perfectly imperfect. Bye.